How's it going, everybody? This is Dale from Upstate Bets. I'm here with my partner Reoz, bringing you guys some NFL player props for another Thursday night slate over here on PrizePicks. So thank you for tuning into the video. If you're brand new to PrizePicks, highly recommend coming over to PrizePicks. They're giving new users first time deposit matches all the way up to $100, dollar for dollar, 100% deposit match. Highly recommend coming over. Use promo code Upstate when you do go ahead and do that. A ton of people have used the code so far. It helps us out a ton. It's the best spot to do your player props. If you're here a little bit early, there is a taco for National Taco Day for Brian Robinson Jr. 7.5 fantasy score. Really good prop. They do stuff like this all the time, so you're not missing out on the fun today. They're probably going to be doing like stuff like this like throughout the entire year, just randomly. They love to give little discounts, a little bit more incentive to take the over on some of these. Like, I'm not going to say it's a free square, but definitely a square that we really like to take the more on. So they do stuff like this all the time. They're really interactive with the community. They're really active on Twitter and stuff like that too. Not only that, you can mix and match the sports over here on PrizePicks. But we got a Thursday night game between the Commanders and the Bears. Not one that many people think is a solid game. I actually kind of like this game. The Bears season's probably over, whether they kind of lose this game or not. We kind of know what the Bears are, but the Commanders get feisty. Overtime loss to the Eagles, but they've looked pretty good. The offense looks good under Bieniemy. I think there's a lot of fantasy players to go around here. I think it's going to be a better game than the spread, entails. Right now, Washington is 6-point favorites. The over-under, what's that, Reoz? 44 and a half?
44 and a half, yes.
Yeah, so I think there's a little bit more to go around fantasy-wise, but we'll get to our picks in a second. Before we get to the picks, Reoz, tell them about our Patreon.
Patreon, it's linked in the description below. You can also find it at patreon.com/upstate. They did an amazing update where now it's even more interactive than it was before. They have their own separate chat where you can communicate with us super fast. It's basically like a Discord now where we have now a group where if you're on the Patreon, you can message us. You can message everybody that's on the Patreon and just start a really nice community over there. They also made it super easy to use, so I highly recommend checking it out. Like I said, only $15 a month. We're going to be covering all of the MLB playoffs. I've already been firing off a ton of two-pick powers over on the Patreon for that. These first 2 days, been feeling really good about it. Amazing baseball. And not only do we have NFL right now, but at one point in October, we will have all three sports going with NBA starting, NFL continuing to go, and MLB closing in on the World Series. So amazing stuff over there. 2 for the price of 1. You're missing out over there. Not only are we bringing you winners here on YouTube, but the Patreon is just as much winners. So please check it out.
Yeah, they say October is the best month for sports. I have to agree. This month's going to be jam-packed. It's a good time to get over on the Patreon. $15 a month. Quite a bargain for picks from me and my partner Reoz. Been doing really well all NFL season over there. NFL is going to be good. When NBA comes around, it's going to be even better. A lot more value to go around. We're not raising the price or anything like that. So I highly recommend getting over there, getting on the action. And let's get into the picks. We got some free picks on the video. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. We're posting NFL picks all the time for every single slate. Obviously, when NBA comes around, we're doing videos every single day for NBA as well. So let's get to the picks, Reoz. How about you go first today? Let's see who you got for your first pick.
Yeah, let's do it. We're gonna go right over 2 receiving yards with Terry McLaurin. Looking at his projection at 60 and a half, I'm gonna go with the more here. I know in the preseason he was dealing with some turf toe. The first couple of weeks, we didn't know if he was going to play, but he's played every single week and played over 80% of snaps, which is amazing. They're really starting to get cooking with him in these last 3 weeks. Last week against my Broncos, who are pretty bad on defense, he had 10 targets for 8 receptions and 86 yards, and I think that's what we're going to see a lot in this game. We saw how bad this defense played against the Broncos last week. We've really seen them all season just not be able to stop any type of passing game. They're not putting any pressure on the quarterback. Sam Howell, I don't even know if you can look at that Bills game. It was probably the worst game he will probably ever have in his career, and bounces back and looks unbeatable, unbreakable against the Philly defense in a huge game last week. I think Sam Howell is definitely a really good quarterback, and they're going to rely on McLaurin here. We know All the other guys. Logan Thomas had a couple big catches. Curtis Samuel, obviously, what he is able to do not only in the receiving game but the passing game. But I want to go with the number one here. Somebody he's comfortable with. Somebody he wants to rely on. I think the turf toe injury is something in the past. He looks healthy. He's playing a ton of snaps. I don't think he's a decoy anymore. This line is definitely going to shoot up. I know last season he was high 60s, low 70s in his projections. So I'm going to go with the more here with Terry McLaurin, more 60.5.
You got to think this Washington team is playing with a lot of confidence, too, coming out of that Philly game. I mean, Howell throws a last-second touchdown at the buzzer to send it into overtime. I mean, really good game to watch. McLaurin's definitely, the number one guy over there. I like the way they're using him. And Howell seems to get more and more confidence every single week. So I'm going to go over to a pass catcher myself. Right next to McLaurin, I like the projection on Cole Kmet here at 32.5. I'm going to be taking the more on him as well. Coming off a season-high 9 targets, we've seen 7 and 6 out of him so far as well. Didn't play very well against KC. Only 10 points in that game. It was kind of a blowout from the start. So the whole team is kind of in shambles. But when they go against Denver, they play a really good game. End up losing that game. Broncos kind of storm back in the second half. Kudos to Reoz as a Broncos fan there. But Bears are 0-4, man. Like I said, we're not expecting much out of this season. They need to kind of, if they are going to turn things around, and like I said, even if they do, they're going to need a win on Thursday night for sure. And Kmet is one of those guys. If he's not the number one, he's the number two on this team to DJ Moore. DJ Moore has been up and down so far this season as well. But I know with this Washington front getting a lot of pressure on Fields, he's going to be looking for the check down for Kmet. And I like the way he's been playing 2 touchdowns in the last game as well. Fields is kind of throwing the ball a little bit more than I thought. We obviously expected him to have a lot of explosive runs that we just haven't seen. And whether if it's him or coaching, it just hasn't been there yet. So I think Kmet is a really solid piece here in this offense, and this line is a little bit too low for me, and I love the more here.
I like the more as well. Cole Kmet, we saw, I think it was last year or two. It was 2 years ago. He was a target machine. It looked like Justin Fields and him were inseparable. I mean, this is just a guy. He just seemed to always find. I know when you add DJ Moore, a really good wide receiver, that connection kind of goes away. But at a low projection of 32.5, you got to think coming off last week with how good that connection was, it's going to carry over in a short week here against the Commanders.
Absolutely. So I like these two receivers. Thursday nights have been a little bit iffy. However, I do think that this one has a chance to put together a lot of offensive, a lot of offense here and a little bit of a high-scoring game. The game against the Broncos and that the Bears had definitely proved something to me that this team can put up points. We have seen Fields have good games. We've seen Howell put up a bunch of points against a good Philly defense. So I wouldn't be surprised if this game shoots out. So we want to have a little bit of a piece of these pass catchers as well. So really like these 2 picks, Reoz. Punch these in for a 2-pick power if you would like. You can go all the way up to 25x over here on PrizePicks, which would require 6 players. So if there's any players in the on this board that we didn't talk about, drop a comment in the comment section down below, and we'll get to you in the comment section if we like that pick or if we don't. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and we'll catch you next time. Peace out.